What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the firewall, where we discuss the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
What up?
All right, got another interesting article for this week. So, last episode, if you're watching in order, we talked about Google and how some unredacted documents came out showing that it's nigh impossible to opt out of their location services. And in this one, we'll get a little bit more into that ransomware game. So without further ado, I'll give it to you, LeVon.
Yes, sir. So it looks like we got an article here from threatpost.com from Tom Spring was the author. And this is REvil, the ransomware gang spills detail on U.S. attacks. So apparently, REvil, the ransomware gang, was interviewed on some Telegram channel called Russian OSINT, O-S-I-N-T, and apparently they were, having discussions. They were interviewing, asking some questions about like some of their activities, and I think some things that came up was the most recent JBS Foods ransomware attack that pretty much kind of shut down their operation. I think this is a Brazilian food company that supplies a lot of meats and products to a lot of countries, and they got attacked by this group, and they got shut down for a period of time. And going through the article here, they had the interview. They kind of discussed some things about like the U.S. has been kind of focusing a lot on ransomware. They have some ideas as far as like restricting people from paying ransoms, but they brought up some interesting points here. Some of the main things that they mentioned during the interview. They said that the recent attack impacting JBS Foods was originally directed at a Brazilian entity. So it looks like, it may not have been exactly what they were after, but it ended up affecting this JBS Foods. And they don't really understand why the U.S. has been intervening in this case, even though I think U.S. is a consumer of JBS Foods products. So I think the U.S. is starting to get more integrated or interested in these kind of attacks, no matter where they're occurring, whether they're in the U.S. or overseas. But these are some of the people that we work with. So it's like you mess with our cousins, we're coming after you. That's pretty much what's going on here. And the gang said current U.S. legislation, if passed, that would restrict ransomware victims from paying a ransom would not be a deterrent for future attacks. So I don't know if this has been them trying to be like I don't know how you want to say, like puff up the chest or try to act like they're all tough, but they're trying to say that if people aren't paying the ransoms, that they're just gonna keep attacking no matter what. It's not gonna deter them from asking for these ransoms and impacting these companies, which I'd be interested to know. I mean, you would imagine after a certain period of time, unless they're just doing it for the kicks and like they have nothing else better to do in the world, they have like other income that if they were infecting companies' machines and they weren't getting any money out of it, that they would eventually stop at some point, unless they have some like secondary income or they got some side gigs or something like that, and they're just doing this for fun, like they're playing video games. But besides that, I think I think it would be a deterrent in general if they were never to get any monies ever again from doing ransomware. But I guess that will be determined over time. But they also said they're not concerned about being considered as terrorists. I guess they don't care about that kind of description or that title. They might even kind of like that also might like hype them up and say, oh yeah, we're terrorists or something like that. You guys need to be terrified if you guys get ransomware. You better pay us quick, or we're going to shut everything down. But and also the group originally restricted U.S. targets in cyber attacks. So it looks like they were trying to like limit certain U.S. targets in their attacks, but it looks like at the very end, it says in the interview, the anonymous REvil gang member said, in light of U.S. actions and posturing to retaliate for the JBS Foods attack, the group will now lift the restriction on attacking U.S. targets. So now they're saying like, okay, now that U.S. is interfering with our attacks, we were going after a Brazilian company that you guys should not be interested in, and now you kind of trying to stop our game that we're going to come after us now. So they're kind of like putting up their I don't know, they're trying to make themselves all big and bad and try to act like they are going to be focusing on the us now going forward. But I guess I guess the future will I guess the future will tell what happens as a result of their posturing. But do you guys have some thoughts on the REvil and their actions?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think this anonymous person probably doesn't speak for all of REvil. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
like he or she put on some boisterous claims. Uh, the U.S. jumping in is because you mess with our food supply. So you know what I mean, like that's why the government stepped in, and then you will most likely stop doing as much activity when you stop getting paid. Like that doesn't even make sense. Like to say that, oh well, I will be undeterred if they pass laws like similar to the UK where companies cannot pay. Like if you
mm,
pay, we're going to fine you, so you lose double the money.
right.
So I think it will be a deterrent in the long run. Um, but then the being labeled as a terrorist, I don't think you know what that means.
Right.
Like they're gonna put
Right.
you in a hole somewhere. So when they eventually find you, so I think all this is just like you said, it's just posturing.
Yeah.
Now, will the U.S. actually pass legislation where companies cannot pay? That's the future. Only the future could tell if that's going to actually happen or not. Like obviously, we're pro that because it should deter ransomwares. But at the end of the day, uh, unless their side gig is being a CISO, you're gonna run out of money soon because you're not gonna get paid these. You ain't gonna get broke off these multi-million-dollar ransoms.
Right.
So it won't be as lucrative. Like if it turns into a 9 to 5 job and you get minimum wage from hacking, you move on to something else.
And I was interested too, as you mentioned it, if they'd be labeled as terrorists. I wonder if that changes some of their the U.S. response. Like all of a sudden, if they find out, like, okay, this is a site of a ransomware gang. Let's go ahead and bomb this. We're going to destroy this whole
Right.
facility right here. We know exactly
Yeah.
who this is, so we can shoot to kill kind of thing. I don't know. I'm not. I don't try to. I'm not trying to
You're like
promote
a
violence, but
hellfire.
yeah, I'm not promoting violence by any means. But I'm just curious if the U.S. response would be different compared to like a regular, like, okay, this guy's a cyber attacker, like a hacker. Oh, slap on the wrist. We're gonna put you in jail for a couple of years. But now they're like, oh, we're gonna shoot to kill because you're messing with our food or our oil or something like that. But
Right.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you guys off. Look, at you about to say something too, Shannon.
So yeah, so they don't know what they're doing, right?
Yeah,
So they messed with our gas a few weeks ago, right? Not the dark side, right? And now you're going after Americans' beef and pork, right? So like we're not a nation of Muslims, right? Like we don't play that. And the terrorist
right.
thing is what's oh my gosh. Ryan, you hit the nail on the head. Like they do not know what they're asking for, right? So they're gonna be like I'm gonna give away my not necessarily my age, but like it's gonna be like James Brown at the Tammy, right? They're gonna be begging, please, 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 please. Like they ain't gonna want us on that butt. You know what I mean? Because like
Right.
they do not know what they are doing here. I think it was an after effect thing. Like I think they were being boisterous as well, right? Like you got caught, and now you're like, well, we didn't care. We would have done it anyway, right? But you already
Right.
said that you weren't dealing, you weren't going to start messing with American interests, right? Like you were not really targeting the U.S. like that. Well, you inadvertently did, right? Like, and again, it's our beef and pork in America. Like we don't play that. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's not going to go down well for you, and you will look. I'm with you, man. You are going to end up in a black hole somewhere, a black site, you know,
That's right. That's
somewhere.
right.
You know what I mean? Like not able to do anything, right? They have you locked up like Hannibal, you know what I mean? Messing with
Right.
gas and beef and pork. Like we just don't play that. And yeah,
Right.
I don't. I'm not gonna say they're lying, but I think they put that out there saying, yeah, we're gonna start going after American interests and things like that. And it's like, okay, if we label you a terrorist group, like you got to see what happens here, right? Like look at our look. call somebody and ask about us. You know what I'm saying? This is
You better
like,
ask somebody.
when you are considered a terrorist, it is not good for you, right? Like good, bad, and different. Like whether it's true or not, you know what I mean? Like I don't get this, man. Like, and again, I know this is something that's been going on for the last year, where these 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 different groups are going out, cyber hackers and stuff like that are going out there and have been making money, right? Like we've done it on this show. Like go back and look at the past episodes where we talk about how much money they've made and whatnot. But there's gonna come a point where, and we're starting to see it already, right? And it was really the SolarWinds attack that sparked the President Biden's administration taking action when it comes to cyber and getting a little more serious and putting real money into it. This is not going to be a game to us very shortly. You know what I mean? It's not going to be a game to us, and you are going to regret it. You know what I mean? So, and even over in the UK, right? Like they have stuff over there where they're like, we ain't paying nothing. Like they'll come over here and see us. Like we'll probably adopt that here in the States, and then all of a sudden you're going to be like, okay, where do you go from here? And also, like we're sending SEAL Team 6 after you because you're a terrorist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So
They
good luck
smashing through the windows.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good luck to them. I say that. Good luck to them.
Right. Yeah. Don't wake the sleeping giant, or however that saying goes. Because we sent some SEALs and some, like, I don't know, special forces over there to come knocking your door and like, hey, we gotta take you out in this back alley over here or something. I don't know, in this deep hole somewhere.
You don't want
for a couple months.
You don't want to have your next action be the next Pearl Harbor, right? Like you don't want it to
That's
be
right.
cyber Pearl Harbor, and we're like, okay, well, okay,
yeah,
you came and stuck us. You came into our harbor and you dropped some torpedoes on us, and now we're coming for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
It ain't what you want, player.
Yeah. You got to imagine these things. I mean, right now, I mean, the last couple things, like, these have been more focused on, ransom with the food and the oil. I know this, obviously there's been attacks on like military installations or whatever, like just the government in general. But you got to imagine, like, this has to be like a priority for us in general, that we have to make sure that our infrastructure is staying secure, or else, we're going to lose a lot of, very important IP that's, as well as, confidential data that can cost people lives, as well as give our enemies access to some weapon, like pretty much how-to guides, how to build a certain type of weapon, or nuclear weapons, or space aircrafts for, like, combat missions, things like that. So this is stuff that we have to be like concerned about, make sure that it doesn't get to a point where it's, we're losing all kinds of valuable data, or we're getting like compromised in such a place, such a way that, we're shutting down businesses, shutting down. Imagine like a military base has to shut down because they got ransomware. Also, they all the computers are locked up, and the generals and the colonels can't get on the computers, and all this other kind of stuff. It'd just be like, it would be crazy, and it would be like a big black eye, I guess, on our infrastructure, on our nation. So we got to make sure we're doing everything we can to try to make sure that this is a focus, and that we are taking it serious.
Yeah, definitely.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I'm saying that, yeah, because now we're talking big game as well, by saying that we're going to do X, Y, and Z to them. That though it should not be this way, but it will provoke attacks. Like, now I say, okay, so you throw your hat in the ring, so now we're going to come after you. So we definitely have to shore up our defenses and be serious. Like, okay, this is what will happen to those. Like, you got to make an example out of somebody. So basically, I don't know if it'll be a hellfire. That's a bit extreme, but like somebody rolling up in a black van, scooping you up, that might be real. Right. That might actually happen to you. So, are you gonna say, Shannon?
So LeVon, what you were talking about though, so like when it comes to military installations and stuff like that, though, like that's, to me, that's an expectation, right? It's like if you go into a war zone, or you go somewhere where there's a conflict, you have different rules you have to follow, right? Like you only go after combatants, right? For the most part, you're not out there killing civilians or doing anything crazy like that. And when you have a military installation, again, Like that's just an expectation for me. They're gonna poke us, we're gonna poke them, right?
Mhm.
So like I expect those targets to get hit, right? Like the numbers on how many times a firewall gets hit on a military installation is astronomical, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I mean, I don't want to say that's like a legal target, but it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, well, we're gonna poke at you too, so you're gonna poke at us. We got to do our part. But again, it's like when we go into a war zone, we don't shoot at civilians, right? Like we don't bomb. I mean, we don't, right? I'm not saying everybody's like this, but we don't go in just bombing apartment buildings and houses just at random, right? Which is kind of what they're doing here. Like you're doing something that affects not just the Department of Defense, you know, or any other part of our federal government. You're going after civilians, right? Like that's where it gets more dicey to me, and that's where it gets to the point where we're gonna have to take action. We're gonna throw our hat in the ring, like you said, right?
Mhm.
You know what I mean, so
Yeah,
I don't know. I just
that's a good point.
yeah, we'll see what comes of it, but I tell you right now, this administration is putting some money into it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's be careful what you wish for.
Right.
Right. Right.
No,
Exactly.
that's a good point for sure. You're exactly right. It's like you said, the government, like the military bases and military installations or whatever, uh, those are kind of expected to be hit, and I know they get hit all the time with would-be hackers and what have you trying to get in there, and sometimes they may get in there and they get discovered, and whatever action plan they have to, whatever process they have to go to clean them up, make sure they get out of that, remove them from access to that area. So it definitely happens. So like you said, it's like you said, they're pretty much going after our like civilian companies and things like that are not really prepared or not as well equipped to handle these type of situations. So
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. Like, I'm sure REvil will pop back up. Their name is always it's a longer title. It's like Sodi Noki B. Can't pronounce it. It's
yeah,
like another Russian-esque affiliate group that's out there, along with Dark Side and a few others. Like then you also have your nation state attackers and actors and things of that nature. So that whole area is full of different people. So I'm sure their name will pop up again. We will definitely talk about them. Hopefully, it's not something too serious because, like again, like you said, they messed with the oil, they've messed with food. So what's next? Right? Their infrastructure is always an area of attack that we have to again put our defenses up. So we're talking big game too. So we definitely have to make sure our defenses are put together. But
right.
Again, not just any food. Like if they went after tofu, I don't think they would have done anything. Right?
know how to do it.
That's right. It would have been okay.
When the beef and the pork lines shut down, I'm just saying, like that's not what
Yeah,
we.
we're going crazy.
Yeah,
come out swinging.
That's
But
right.
so we'll see what next week brings us, right? So it seems to always be every week we see the progression. So we'll see. Stay tuned. See what our take is on whatever happens next week. But again, hopefully it's not something major. Like I need those type of attacks to slow down because like sooner or later it'll impact me. You see Americans go crazy. Like this time nothing crazy happened, but when it hit pipeline, we got Americans putting gas in bags. It's
Right.
anarchy out there, right? So
Right.
I definitely want that to settle down. But make sure you tune in each week. Like I said, like, share, subscribe. I'm doing a lot of pandering because I'm seeing our numbers go up. So definitely share with your friends. We appreciate that. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, LeVon. It's always good conversation. Thank you to all those who are subscribed and constantly listen to us. Appreciate that. Hit us up on the website, www.theothersideofthefirewall.com, where you can get to all of our social medias. You can hit us up personally. I'm at REvil Security Guy on a lot of different things. So definitely LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, IG, all that good stuff. And LeVon?
Hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe, stay secure.
Take care.